Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about Tron. I saw Tron Legacy, and actually, after many reviews had pointed out that it was the amazing film and you should definitely see it, I even risked it and took it a little farther, and I went to IMAX and saw it in 3D. Um, we're going to talk about it. I think it's worth merit. I was a very big Tron fanboy, especially of the original. And in fact, I had it I had it on disc, not the disc everybody else uses nowadays, but an earlier version of disc. And let me tell you, the technology-wise, it's night and day. The special effects, they look solid. It doesn't look like they're in a simulated atmosphere. It looks like the walls are solid. The everything else. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of excellent. I learned a couple things. One, I learned if you're going to see 3D, see it at IMAX 3D. Two, I learned don't see 3D. The the trailer, they had a trailer for people taking care of rescued animals prior to the movie. That 3D blew my socks off. It really looked like the gorillas and everything were really coming out. But I didn't really see the need for 3D with Tron. What originally got me to do it was that I saw Resident Evil Afterlife, and they had this one part where the model was brought down to show the subterranean structure, and it was so easier to see with the 3D. And I thought, well, it's a given that that's going to be a translation. It really wasn't. Now, what do I think about the movie? Okay, this is where people may find spoilers. If you see it, I'm sorry, stop watching now. I actually, it pains me to say this, but I thought the movie was kind of slow and very sappy. It, a lot of it didn't make sense. There were anomalies, like, you know, Clue was told to make a perfect world. Now, how the game grid fits into a perfect world, I don't know. In the original Tron, they were stealing programs, and they were sent to the game grid as Master Control went into other systems and would confiscate programs and replace them with his guys. But in this one, Clue builds a tiny city and flips out whenever these ISOs, spontaneous life forms, show up. Um, it didn't. The whole thing didn't make sense. Like, Clue's whole purpose was he's going to build an army and come through the portal and come back to our world. Now, the technology to send people into the Tron universe was developed in the first movie, and it allowed you to go ahead and take physical items of ours, digitize them, and put them in the universe in their interpretation. There's nothing saying that door swings both ways. I think a better plot would have been if Sam, who is a 27-year-old, um, had seen his father a whole bunch of times and then kind of found his way back to his father's lab because Clue had been checking out to make sure he can go back and forth between worlds. Um, None of the physics, all the physics operated more like our physics than they did the original. For everyone a lot of people said this was the best movie. One guy off of Stupid for Movies, said that it was better than Avatar. As for the textures and the way things looked, they were impressive, but I think going better in Avatar and making that kind of statement is a little bit of a stretch. And actually, to be honest, I am heavily, I mean, a lot of these podcasts I trusted, and I always kind of go to them for, like Beyond the Trailer and so forth. I'm starting to think these people had like, I don't know, lobster dinners during their review or something. It's it just really, I loved Tron when I originally saw it, and I thought the concept was far out. But this one just really, it particularly wasn't IMAX worthy, and it really was slow and sappy. There were some really cool parts, like the part where they're in the bar, which looks like a scene taken from Tron 2.0, the game, where they go into the dance club and they've got to communicate with people, and you got the DJs going and stuff, and it's really cool. But in this case, I've got to say, um, this movie, although it is worth seeing, one I wouldn't blow the 3D option. If you can see it in a matinee and a good screener, possibly a date night, because it is slow and sappy. There were so many holes in it and so many pointless things. It really, I think Disney is hedging their bets because they don't want to lose out on this one. I don't know. Um, I wouldn't say is better than Avatar. And then, granted, I was a Tron fanboy. You know, I played the games. I got Tron 2.0, and I was really interested in this one. And I've been waiting for this movie for a while. I was like, oh, I'm going to see it. In fact, I saw it on opening day, waited in line at IMAX. I don't do that normally, but you know, it is a good movie. However, it is slow and sappy, and um, a lot of the plot doesn't make sense. Not that many disc fights, and somehow Tron himself turns evil and works with Clue. There's really, I think the plot could have been much better. I think maybe, like I said, you know, maybe he sees his father, and it turns out to be Clue passing through universes. Um, make sure it's safe, or something along that lines. That would have made a much better movie. Um, and no fault of any of the characters. Anybody who was actually in it did acting. In fact, in the very first part, which you see in a lot of these trailers, where the chicks walk towards Sam in a kind of an awkward fashion, that was great. It kind of gave this alien world sort of thing. That doesn't last very long. Another thing is they kind of go all software should be free in the beginning, and Sam is fighting against the machine, which happens to be his company, and none of that makes sense. They do make a lot of references to the first movie, and it is fun, but the wowism isn't there. This amazing soundtrack from Daft Punk didn't chime in. There are times that I could hear the projector from the IMAX projectors. I could hear the sound of the projector. They get quiet, and that thing is loud. And it's like, I'm like, what the hell is that noise? And I look over and, I look back and I realize it's the IMAX projector. So, I probably will get some discussion from this, probably not some friendly, but B minus, maybe? And this is sadly from a Tron fanboy. So I hope that helps anyone trying to make a decision on how to see this. I think you should see it, but I wouldn't really recommend going much further than the basic theater, and I certainly would partake in the matinee if you could. Sorry, people. I mean, no one's more bummed than I am. I killed I hear spanning out some really cool toys though. Some of the collectibles look really neat. Hope that helps. Later.